everyone. We are talking tonight on engagement strategies for the daily routines and the quick practices. I hope you're all well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shannon Kiebler. I'm the admin of this group, and I am specifically on a mission to get all of our teachers doing daily routines and quick practices. So I can scream it from the mountaintops. I can say it every time I see you, but the more that you do them and the more you do them with fidelity, meaning you stick with them, you stick to the content, you do them consistently, the more it is going to pay off. So I'm in classrooms all the time where I see kids that might be struggling with various concepts, and I always ask, so are they doing quick practice? And no, we don't have time, and I'm barely getting this in, and I'm like, that's why, right? So many of the skills that our kids need automaticity with, there is just not enough time in our regular lesson or our workbooks or anything to build the amount of procedural fluency that students really need. So in kindergarten, first and second grade, just a reminder that you guys have daily routines, which are 10 minutes every day, and you have quick practice, which are 5 minutes every day. Third through sixth, you just have quick practice, which is 5 minutes every day. So we're at the time of year right now where students start to get pretty squirrely, right? If they haven't been already, there's just a lot going on in our classrooms, but this is where it gets harder to get our kids to really endure or make it through the quick practice and daily routines because they're so used to doing them. If you've been doing them, and they start getting into this routine, but then we start getting like, okay, we do this every day. Like, do we have to keep doing it? The answer is yeah, you do. Okay, so I wanted to talk tonight specifically about some ways that we can increase our engagement if you're finding that you're trying to do them every day, but your kids are just not with you. Okay, so first of all, I want you to know that the daily routines changed for first and second grade specifically with the new 2018 copyright. So if you're teaching in the 2013 or the 2015, you really want to update to those daily routines. They're available to you for free, that update. You can get it on my website. You just log in, www.empowerlearngrow.com. But if you're in kindergarten, you know that you just count like every single day. Boys and girls, let's add one more. Okay, we add one more. We count to our new total of the day. We talk about numbers in base 10. So if it's numbers 86, that means it's 80 plus 6, right? And we start with the total first. So we'll say 86 is 80 plus 6. We're teaching them that the equal sign means the same as. Okay, so we count. But counting, as you know, to 86 is like, that's a long way. And so we can start to kind of lose it, right? As our kids are counting or they're rolling on the ground, they're not really watching. And watching the numbers as we count is a really important part of understanding the number system. Seeing what you say and making that eye connection. Okay, if you are in first and second grade, it changes. So first grade, you're working a lot on our numbers in base 10, putting numbers together. 30 plus 4 is 34. You're also might be working on pesky pairs, that 13 and 30 are two different numbers. So you're going to build some routines around those. If you're in second grade, it is money all day long. Okay, so we're doing so much with our money skills to really build automaticity with that. If you're in 3 through 5, you're working, or 3 through 6, you're really working in quick practice on whatever it is that your current unit is, right? So I want you to put in the chat right now what your grade is and what your unit is, and I might be able to give some specific examples of your specific unit. Okay, so here's what we know. One is choral response. I see this a lot for engagement. Anytime we call on one student, we are going to encounter engagement issues. Okay, so you might call on one student and have everyone else whisper reading, right? Like we're all counting to 86, 1, 2, 3, but I am hearing Sharon's voice loud and proud. Okay, so I'm going to hear her voice going as loud as we can because I want to hear if she knows what the number sequence is. But everyone else is still whisper counting because if I don't, everyone else is in la la land because it's not their turn. They don't care if it's not their turn. So choral response is really important. I'll give you some of the specific examples. So I was just in a second grade room where they're working on subtraction within 20, specifically from a teen number. So that's one of the things in the quick practice that we're like, hey, that's a standard. They have to be fluent in their facts, addition, subtraction in second grade, all the way to 20. But on what planet is that going to happen in one unit? Okay, that's tough. There's a lot going on there. So it gets put into quick practice because we need to now work on automaticity. We learned the strategies in Unit 1 and 2, but we're not mastered on it. We need it still coming back. So it's going to come back in those quick practices. While I'm watching this quick practice, fabulous teacher, fabulous class, but she's the one reading the equations, right? And the class just responds with an answer. So great wait time, waiting for everyone to get an answer, and then the class would say the answer together, choral response, but I would add something to that for engagement. add the whole class reading the equation. So if it's 12 minus 4, think about it. Class, the class is coming up with strategies. They might be using strategies. They give a thumbs up when they know. Class, they all say the answer. Okay, so in this case, 8. Class, say the full equation. 12 minus 4 equals 8. Now say it with addition, because 8 plus 4 equals 12. Now this would all be visual, right? But the idea is that if we're doing too much of the telling, we're saying too much, we're reading the equations, we're telling them what to say, like 5th grade, you're working on fractions pieces right now. It should be the whole class. Class, read the equation with me. Class, think about the answer. So choral response is very, very important. It's not student leader read a question, Sylvia. Okay, so you're going to lose engagement. Like it's going to happen. Okay, so everybody, no matter what grade you are, my upper grades, everyone say it together, and then you start to create a rhythm. Remember, the slide decks are on my site, as are the videos. Okay, and then you just make them your own. Okay, you make them work for you. But choral response is going to be 1. Let me just look really quickly. Okay, so you're working on understanding what the unknown is. So you would be doing so like 30 plus n. If n equals 40, class, and they would say, well, then the answer is 70. Okay, so or n, if the total is 70, what does n equal? So they're working on variables in that particular example. They're working on the unknown, like what is, if I have to get that variable by itself. So everyone read with me. G plus 387 equals 982. Boys and girls, what's the situation equation? Think about it. And I do here, I don't raise hands. I think raising hands is extremely distracting for kids. It puts a lot of pressure. It just here, I'm the only one that needs to know as the student leader or the teacher. Thumbs up when you know. And then class, everyone's going to say it together. Okay, so they would say G equals 982 minus 387, or whatever the example is. Okay, so that's 4th grade for you guys. You're trying to get that variable by itself. So choral response is there. So let me take a look at, but everyone's reading it. Okay, so 3rd grade and 2nd grade. So 3rd grade, you're going unit 7, which is fractions. So I'm going to go there just really quickly so you know what's coming up. Okay, so 3rd grade, it's actually fractions is everyone else's unit 4, I believe. So if you're in 2018, okay, so I think you guys are working on multiplication and division still, and then you're going to be working on time. Actually, you're working on time. Okay, so it says put the hour hand at 12 for now. Okay, class, what time is it? Class, 1:30. Boys and girls, do I move the hand a little bit, halfway, or closer to 1? Okay, so there's a sentence frames you're going to give your students. So they're looking at a clock, everyone can see the clock, and now the student leader says, do I move my minute hand a halfway, a little bit, or more than halfway? Think about it. Thumbs up when you know. Class, more than halfway. Okay, so the student leader moves it. Class, what's the time? The whole class says the time. Okay, so class, I think then it goes to the next one. That's all it is there. Okay, or then they read it after. So class, what's the time? 30 minutes past 1. But it's all choral response. Looking at 2nd grade, unit 4, let's just see what you guys have there. I'm going to give you a couple more tips here. Let me give you one more example, and then we'll give you some more things here. So daily routine specifically. Oh yeah, so 2nd grade, I love these. I mean, I just love your money stuff like more than I can say. So here's what 4th grade or 2nd grade has. So 2nd grade has pictures of dollars, but they're like 100 pennies. So it has 100 pennies and 100 pennies and 100 pennies. That's why you need the slides, because the visuals are all there. You don't have to write anything on the board. Okay, so even if you don't have something that projects it well, print them off and put them under your document camera, right? That works just fine. So students are counting by 100s in 2nd grade. 100, 200, but every time they count for a new group of 100, they see another group of 100 pennies. Then we work on counting from a 100, so like 300 to 400, but they have to count by tens now. Well, we're good at counting on hundreds, and we're good at counting by tens to 100, but what if I told you to start at 300 and count to 400? So now again, we're tracking the pennies as the student leader's pointing, 310, 320, 40, so on and so forth. Everyone's counting together. Okay, this means the other engagement tip here is you have to have good student leaders. Right? So it doesn't mean you have to have the best and the smartest for the student leader. It means you need to have a student leader who is pointing in the right direction, who's staying on track with what they're supposed to say. If everyone read the equation with me and the student leader's not even pointing to the equation, then it's going to be like blubber, 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 blubber. Okay? The student leader has to be strong, and that has to do with strong coaching. So if your student leader's not doing a great job, that's a reflection of their coach. So instead, you're going to like squat next to them. Oh, get out of the way. No one can see the chart. Oh, you're moving the pointer too fast. They can't keep up with you. Okay, so that student leader, once they do their job right, that's going to help very much with engagement. So for you, you want to say it the same way every day. If you're using the slides, there's like 4 prompts on the slides. Sometimes I don't like the prompts. Sometimes like, I would never say it that way. Well, then don't. Make it your own, but try not to make those student leaders say more than 4 things, because then no one can remember what they're supposed to say, and then it's just, it's a nut show the whole rest of the time. So class, read it with me. Class, what's the variable? Think about it. Class, that's it. Those are 4 lines. Okay, that's all they have to say. So try to keep it very, very short and brief so that student leader can be successful. But if the student leader is standing in front of the chart, you got to tell them, get out of the way. If the student leader is not pointing correctly, or if they're going too quickly, whatever the case may be. Okay, so strong student leaders. The next one is TPR, so total physical response. I'm a huge proponent of this, so especially if you're in the younger grades, but really even in the upper grades. So let me take my 2nd grade example for a minute, okay? They're counting by hundreds and then by tens within hundreds. 2nd grade is also doing the dime, 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 freeze, okay? So they have a picture of a list of coins, and then in this unit, I think they're all to 25 cents. But regardless, the students are first supposed to identify the name of each coin. So as you go down the list, it would be like quarter, quarter, and every time it changes, kids are supposed to pause to note that, like, I noticed the coin changed. I'm going to pause for a minute. So we say freeze, and then they keep counting, or they keep identifying the coin. Then they start counting. So when we talk about TPR, total physical response, I want you to look at your grade level content. I want you to decide, how can I make them move their hands or their body to improve brain function? We know that's true. And to increase engagement. Here's some examples, okay? So every time I see a dime, we're gonna flash 10 on our left. Dime, 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 freeze. They notice it changed. Nickel, 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 or be on my right. Nickel, 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 freeze. Penny, penny, penny. I'm using my fingers as I say it. If I'm counting by tens, 10, but always to the left, kinesthetic place value, 10, 20, 30. If I'm kindergarten, I'm counting from 61 to 86, 61, 62. Even though we're in the 60s, their one hand can still be keeping track, which is still an important skill. If I'm in that 4th grade group and we're talking about how do I get the variable by itself, and we're in an addition equation, and then we're in a subtraction equation, and then we're in multiplication and division. And so you have to know that, like, if it's G times 215 equals 630, okay, so think about that. G times 213 equals 630. It's kind of a terrible problem, but you get it, that I'm missing an unknown factor. Okay, so what if it's an area model, it would be factor, factor, product, right? Because if I think about a square, I think this is a factor and this is a factor. Inside is the product. So what if they had to do that with their hands? Factor, factor, product. So what am I missing? Factor. Boys and girls, now say it with the G by itself, because I know I can take this and I can divide it by this to get this. But think about what we're doing with our hands if I'm mimicking where it would go on an area model. It happens in 1st grade. It happens right now in 4th grade. It happens in 2nd grade. What am I looking for? Am I looking for an unknown partner or an unknown total? So they'll go partner, partner, total. Partner, partner, total. What's missing? Total. Total at the top. So those types of things, as they're reading it and the student leader's asking questions, the more they can move their hands, the more engaged they're going to be. They do it together, and of course, we don't get totally out of control. But when kids get totally out of control, it's because we've let it go too far. We've been too lax. Nope, that's not how we do it. Everyone say it together, a strong cue. If the student leader is being like, class, and they're not, like, who knows when they're supposed to talk, right? Class, now you respond. Okay, so really clear signals. So TPR, another thing for total physical response is stand up, sit down. Okay, girls count by tens from 300 to 410. Girls stand up, they count. When they get to 410, they sit down. Boys stand up, count by tens. Or, you can choose this half of the room versus that half of the room. Boys and girls, sit down if you think it's a missing factor. Stand up if you think it's a missing product. I don't know, but if the more we do it, kindergarten, we are moving like constantly. Okay, so anytime we finger flash a number, today's number is 86. Everyone stand up. We don't stay sitting. We're sitting for too long. Okay, they can't sit that long. So now we're moving and we're going across our body every time we're counting by those tens. Okay. Yay, Stephanie, I'm so glad they like the measurement posters. That's another one for measurement for 2nd grade, and that quick practice is they're having to be reminded what are benchmark totals. In fact, I was just in Molly's room. Molly, if you're on, hi, it was so great to be in your 2nd grade room. And they were doing the measurement quick practice, and they were supposed to say, boys and girls, show me a centimeter. And so the kids were trying to remember, and they knew because look, the centimeter is the width of my pinky finger. So those little rhymes and chants, but they have to do something with it. Like, this is a centimeter. And then the question was something like, so how many centimeters are in a meter or something? And one little boy was like, it's 100 pinkies. It's like, it's so true, right? Like, because you have a benchmark now. So side story, but that was funny. So this is like, they have something, a nose, a rose, or even like my toes. That's an inch. Okay, we talked about the clock, okay? So even if it's, the time is 1:30, class, count with me. And we should be counting by fives to get there. Okay, 1 o'clock, 1:05, 1:10. Okay. The other thing I have, so total physical response, choral response, and strong student leaders. Just ask yourself, do I have all those three in place? Okay, it's not pull a popsicle stick time.